Guys, we're gonna start the meeting.
We're ready.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see everybody. Welcome to our September 11th DDA meeting. So I'd like to call the meeting to order, and Becky, if you would do roll call, that's great.
Okay, Rocky,
Here.
Chuck,
Here.
Gail,
Here.
Cora, here, Margaret, here, Nikki, here, Jody, here, Sarah, here, Matt Bagheera. Absent.
We have four. Okay, excellent. So just we'll do what we do every time we have a DDA meeting, and that's first for the public. We will open the meeting up to public comments after every single agenda item. And you are, please stand up, say your name, your address, and then you have 3 minutes to comment. Okay, excellent. So the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. So for the board, has everyone read the material? Any questions? Concerns? No? Okay, so will someone make a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept. Second.
Second, okay. Rocky? Aye.
Aye.
Chuck? Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. Sounds like Popeye.
Gil, can I interrupt for a second?
Of course.
Is there a chance that we're not getting this
We're-
recorded?
It's recording, we just do not seem to have a camera.
Okay, because I could go get my phone to record it. I have an app on my phone.
It
Just so-
seems like it's recording,
Oh.
but it's not, there's no camera. There's no one who is doing this currently, so.
I just wanted to be sure for the minutes, so as long as I can hear it, I can do the minutes.
Okay, Piers. Are you working out? She's trying,
Oh, okay.
let me check the volume and make sure that.
Yeah.
Testing? Okay, yeah, it seems to be recording. I won't put it again.
Okay,
Thank
first
you.
we'll open it up to public comment on any items that are not on the agenda. Anyone? Okay. And no one's on Zoom, right? No. Okay, Becky?
Okay, the agenda's reorganized a little bit this month. I did get into the bylaws really deeply, and they were very specific about how they wanted the agenda, so we're gonna do old business first. And the first item of old business on the agenda is the approval of the final 2025 budget. So you have the budget in your packet. You're gonna go through lots of pages of minutes. So the budget is very much the same as it was presented to you last month. Just to review the new items for 25 that you did not have in 24 were the co-pays from the participating historic plaque sponsors and revenue. The changes to the non-DDA district businesses choose to be listed in the wayfinding directory. That's the idea is to get them to pay this year. And also, I'm sorry, the charges. And also the county contribution to the TIP as we presented in August, which is a little over $32,000. New expenses for 25 that you did not have in 24 were support for the Chamber's Skeletons Rise event, for our partnership with them, contract fees for a social media consultant, and funds for a trifold shopping map. Now, since last month, as I took some of your comments in mind and did some more review, new expense line items that have been added in now is an increase for the trial shuttle service. Took it from 5,000 to 10,000 as I fooled around with prices that trolley drivers make. For wages that trolley drivers make. And I think I use an average of 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 6 weeks. And then I said, well, let's add in, if we can't get a sponsor, $1,000 a week for a rental, and it came to about $10,000. Just remember, this is a trial. We may or may not move forward with this, so we're not interested in purchasing a vehicle at this point in time. But if we are able to see, everyone seems to be on the same page, they want to do this, so if we're able to make it work, it'll give us good data moving forward. The other expense that I added in, being better without these, is in the wages line item, and this is to pay for the work that will be done by the new Parks and Rec employee that will be doing some work for us, snow removal primarily, sidewalk snow removal primarily, and that comes up later, a discussion about that. You look at your packet. This is again an estimate because we don't know what the weather will be like, number one, how many times we'll have to have this person go out and remove the snow, and we don't know how many hours it will take, so we have to estimate on this, so. And then, Chuck, I did put some more money in the line item for downtown projects, so when you come to the end of the year, you can see that we're gonna end up with a fund balance at the end of 25 of $292,000, almost $293,000, if all goes well.
That's unheard of.
Question,
Yes.
because I,
Comparatively, the year.
my fault for missing the last meeting. The skeleton display, can you go
Yes.
over what that is?
Yes.
I mean, I know what it is, 'cause I've participated in it, but the $5,000, what is that
So the
for?
promotions committee has come up with a brilliant idea of participating in that and putting up a display of our own, perhaps. They need to flush it out, perhaps close the street where the Christmas tree goes. And for the month of October, and put up some kind of a display of skeletons that are not in front of people's stores, but bring people downtown, and it's a scene of some kind. And we would do this year after year, so that's a capital investment that you'd be putting into it. Chuck, if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, the idea is we got a great promotion for the month of October that the chamber is already doing. But we want to really enhance it and make it something that drives people into downtown because they've heard of so many unique things. So instead of just doing human skeletons, maybe we added dogs, birds under some of the roofs, skeletons, things like that. And then the possibility of doing a major skeleton presentation of a combination of human skeletons, dog and birds at some point, whether it's like where the Christmas tree is. Something that really enhances it and really gets kind of a way to compete against some of the other local communities where they want to actually make sure they can take the kids and their family downtown to Harbor
And
Springs.
I feel like it's great, I mean, I know that like for my business, especially being on a hidden street, like we are on the backside of the street, we don't get as much foot traffic, we're on a map and people come and visit us because of that. They come and see our skeleton, that we do something cute with like, I put like my pottery apron and I have 2 dog skeletons because we have the 2 dogs there. And people love it and they come and take pictures of the skeletons, they sit in the chairs, and it's like, it is family friendly and they bring their kids in. I think that, adding to it is awesome.
And as we try to enhance what's going on in downtown Harbor Springs, the idea is to take advantage of a already unique and special event and enhance it even more instead of starting to try to step one, trying to create something and then build it over time. We got something great in a key month for us to build traffic. And so the idea was, let's enhance what the paper is doing.
So the skeletons would be purchased through the chamber because it's a chamber project?
Well, the skeletons right now, and that was where I was just questioning, because right now, I mean, we have our initial fee to sponsor the skeleton, and then
Through the chamber.
through the chamber, and then we get a skeleton delivered. I've been storing mine, because the chamber asks if you have room, if you can store yours, and then in order to put it out every year, we pay the chamber. I think last year it was like $120. So every business that participates pays to
Have the advertising on the map and.
yes,
Right.
things like.
so
These extras, the fee that we're talking about is the extra skeletons that
That
we
would
would
be
buy.
The actual purchase
The actual purchase of this big, the other things that we would buy.
through the chamber?
Not necessarily, not necessarily. We can buy the
tagging
tagging
on
and then we would supplement it.
Okay,
piggybacking on
and
there.
they're good with
And
that?
Bonnie's aware of this.
Bonnie did.
Becky spends time working with Bonnie to make sure she's happy with what we're thinking of and how we're enhancing her promotion.
Okay.
So it becomes a partnership, and not just a chamber.
Exactly. And then we may end up paying some participation fee to the chamber for being involved in this, which is fine.
Oh, well, let's talk about it.
Well, I did have a nice chat with her and she's supportive and happy to see it move forward.
She couldn't be here today.
I know, she gave me a little report. I don't know, Nikki, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, no, I was just because there was that email mix up with
I know.
the summer, so I apologize for not making any of the meetings. I did not know about them, so I was just trying to catch up with what, and then the marketing tab I was curious about as well. Cause that went from 2,000 to 12,000.
Yes, and that's to include the social media contractors. And the shopping map.
Okay.
So we wanted to do a trifold shopping map.
Okay.
This year we did the flat just map that we put out, same thing as you see in the directory. They're looking at a trifold piece that would fit in a brochure rack. And it's gonna cost a little bit more to do that. And I guess the social media consultant contract. When I first got here, that was a hole I could see that lots of opportunity there because if there are volunteers doing it, it's great, but a professional doing it with a professional campaign and that's their job to do it and get it done all the time. It just seemed like that was a good place to go and it's not that expensive to do social media. So the committee talked about it. And
Hiring a firm to do it, is that what you're?
right, actually, that I've talked to Keep It Real Social,
Uh-huh,
and that's where I got the price, so,
okay,
which we're gonna pass, gotten great results with that. So that was a high priority of two of the committee meetings that,
okay,
we needed to develop in that way.
okay.
And I can't do that for you, and I said that when you hired me.
Well, yeah, no, I was curious, but I mean, this is what my son works for an advertising agency. He's a digital marketing specialist.
Oh.
So I was curious as to like what the goal of hiring a social media company was and what the overall when you hire a social media company, there has to be a goal in mind are we trying to drive business to the page? Are we trying to drive business to downtown? And then you have the Google ads. So I mean, it can be $1,000 a month, but it can be up to $2,000 to $3,000 a month, depending on what
Right.
you're trying to do. And so I was just curious as to what the goals to hire a company was.
It's to bring people downtown, to increase the views to across all the platforms, to enhance the image of Harbor Springs. And the number we're looking at right now is about $750. There are some parameters out there of the work that's expected and the reporting and how many posts and all of that. So,
Okay.
okay.
Perfect.
I think one of the other goals would be branding. I mean, besides logos and what is the brand? Maybe downtown Harbor Springs needs a tagline,
Mhm.
like other cities do.
That is in the scope of work I've talked about.
Because that would be an additional, to do something like that would be an additional fee, because everything, you have your social media company that you hire, obviously, but then every step that they do, whether they're doing Google ads or campaigns or boosted posts or anything like that, ends up going on. That's why I said it can be anywhere from low end of what Becky said, between $750 and $1,000 up to 3,000 plus a month,
Right.
depending on what you're trying to do. And branding's definitely a way more expensive aspect
So
of.
we're dipping our toe in this year. That's what. And Jody, I think there's talent on that committee and a tagline might be something that they work on.
Do you think we should up that number then for the proposed budget?
No, I wouldn't do that until I heard what the goal specific and what they think they could do to the page. And what kind of performance reviews, reports we get after that.
Yep.
Personally, I think 12,000, I would like to see some performance analysis the first few months to see how the page is performing and what exactly the businesses and stuff are getting out of it.
I think it's a good, very, very good start. I'm
Mhm.
satisfied to start at that level.
Yeah.
And just understand, the 12 is not all of the 12 is for the consultant. There's also that trifold shopping map in there and other miscellaneous markets.
We're going to, you're gonna talk about Third Street lighting placement under old business.
Do we have to make a motion to approve?
Oh, wait, oh, okay, Bruce, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Oh,
You're explaining how-
I'm sorry, we are approving the budget. So does the total fund balance proposed of $292 at, say, the end of 2025?
Yes,
That still includes all the work done on the Merchants Walkway.
yes. Well, and it's nebulous because we don't know, you know.
Right, right,
That
right.
figure is floating out there right now, so.
But that would be with what we've last discussed as far as minimal amount on the Merchants Walkway. So I know we have in our development plan monies that we've budgeted to put. It seems to me with that larger of a fund, and I say larger because I don't think anybody we've never seen this kind of money. First year, I think, was like $17,000, if you remember, John, we were, I think we really need to look at some projects. Because we don't wanna, we sat for so long with the
There's still a lot in our plan that we
yeah.
could
And-
do.
And we can discuss those, the specifics of projects, et cetera.
Sure,
And, but for right, I mean, there's a budget book appropriate for everybody.
and we can always, we can amend.
Can it be amended though?
Right.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Just like we had to do this last year with the Merchants Walkway. We just have
If
to
I could
create
clarify that,
specific.
Yeah,
in that line item for downtown projects, there are lots of projects in there and that's where the 125 is that are related to the streetscape that have already been in your plan for several years now. And there are benches and there are flower pots and there are bike racks and lots of things that will be a visible difference right away, quick and dirty. Depleting that 292 really fast is, then you're gonna be poor again. And if you have to do anything, or if you see that you're gonna do things down the road that are involved in that streetscape that are very expensive, that include sidewalks or other huge projects, then you're gonna have to wait years and years and years to build it up again. So, and if, honestly, I'm all about it. If a project comes up next year.
Yeah.
I think I said last month that it takes time to spend this money. You gotta shop for these things, you gotta be smart about it, you gotta go through the public process. So by the time you buy the things that enhancement committee is even talking about at this point, you're gonna have a busy year. But if you come up with another project next year and it's in your plan and you wanna go forward with it, then it's going for a budget amendment, which we did this year and it went very smoothly, so.
I guess it didn't stick in my head that we're already spending $125,000 in 2025.
Yeah.
Which is fabulous. I make a motion to accept the budget as presented, the budget draft as presented.
I'd second.
Rocky?
Aye.
I,
Thank you.
Good job. Good job on this, Becky.
I like doing that, that's fun.
At 6 o'clock in the morning.
No, I like doing anything. It's like. Next on the old business is recommendation from the promotions committee on business inclusion on the wayfinding directory signs. We talked about this a lot at this board. I give a little synopsis here. When you first put this wayfinding system together, everybody in the area of what was perceived to be Harbor Springs was included, and that even went down to the country, and all of that. The reasons that were given to me for this were wonderful. It was in the spirit of community inclusion, it's a service to the users of the sign. And you also believe strongly that it would lift up the entire community and that would be a benefit to all. So since then, and I probably am a little guilty of this, some new questions that came up were, should business be included that don't pay the special assessment? Because everyone in the DDA district pays and they deserve to get something for what they pay for. And so going back to branding and image, just including everyone who views public about the identity of them. So you did vote earlier this year to take out all the contract businesses, all the service businesses. And you also said you did not want to include anyone that wasn't in the city limits. So that's what, and then you said, let's have the promotion committee talk about this back with a recommendation, which they did do at 2 meetings. And now their recommendation is that all DDA businesses be listed on the directory map, and that retail, dining, and service businesses that are relevant to visitor information that through be included for an annual charge of $50 if they are outside of the district. That's felt to be an affordable amount. $50 isn't going to make or break anyone. And it also seems fair to the business within the district that pay the full assessment.
Any questions or comments?
No, I think that makes sense. How would we be, question for the promotions committee, how would we be alerting people that they're gonna be removed from structure? We can send out a
I
mailer.
think we need to start right, at least by the.
I mean, I have that list of everyone that's, I mean, the email addresses, I don't know 100%, but has a lot of good contact information on it, so.
We could start there, and if
Okay.
we have to go door to door, I think the committee will understand which of those businesses they really, really think it's a value for. and
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
can make a phone call.
For sure, yeah.
It'll be a little task.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm happy to share that information with them.
Maybe we can get a little ditty in the paper too. I mean, not to sound, but in the interest of transparency, looking at this, you've paid the assessment for this. You're more than welcome to be involved, but you have to pay for it.
Yeah, we'll see. Sometimes that's sounds like opening up a can of worms, but if we believe in what we're doing and we know it's the right thing to do, then it should be. Fair.
Do we need a motion for this?
Yes.
1 second. I had said this, and again, when we started wayfinding, when Rachel started it, we did this because people didn't know where anything was in Harbor. And Harbor is definitely more than, and I understand that it's a DDA project, and we did it as a DDA project because the city didn't want to take it on. But I don't know if it, and I said this a few meetings ago when it was brought up by Wendy, to exclude businesses in the uptown area. I mean, we have a whole sign at the top of the bluff that's the uptown area for people to find businesses up there. And they are part of Harbor Springs, and that is part of what the wayfinding project was. And I understand that there's a special assessment. I get that. I mean, I'm downtown. I mean, I don't own my business, but I mean, it gets passed on to me. I don't think, I mean, I would wonder if other areas that have wayfinding signage, because most areas do, that the DDA has done, or cities, I mean, do they have a fee to include people? And how is this going to, with other businesses in the community that we're asking for $50, is this gonna be a point of contention with the other businesses outside of our small DDA district? And is that amount of money that we could potentially get, is that gonna be worth any point of contention in other businesses in the community when yes, our scope is our DDA, but also I feel like the scope is the greater downtown area, the greater Harbor Springs area. So.
But you can look at it the other way too. If it was,
Special assessment is how much? Isn't it
It's
a dollar a
$1
day? So $365. So I think that in my mind, I think I own a building, I pay the special assessment. Anyone who rents their building, they said pays special assessment as well. So I mean, I think that considering that, like asking $50 is really not asking that much. That's less to advertise than any advertising I have been asked for.
I mean,
somewhere.
no, and
So,
100%, I'm just.
I mean, I
saying,
think it is definitely hard to turn around, like to turn around and be like, oh, okay,
That's-
now you owe us money to
Well,
do this.
especially when there was, I mean, for nobody who was on the board when we started wayfinding. It was not a pleasant experience.
No, I was on.
You were on the board.
Yes.
People were
Very
pissed.
upset.
They were mad, and part of it was that we originally weren't including all of the businesses.
But I don't think $50 when I'm paying $365, because I'm in the central.
Yeah.
The
I don't think
promotions committee spent
$50
A lot
is
of
a
time
lot.
addressing this back and forth.
Yeah,
We really
just
thought
covering.
$50 was a fair amount of
Well, and
money.
I totally apologize for not making.
If nothing else, let's find out
Yeah.
before we change something that we don't know the answer to.
And we already removed, when Paul and I were working on wayfinding for 2024, we removed plumbers, contractors, construction companies, electrical companies. They shouldn't be on a pedestrian wayfinding sign. People are walking around going, "Oh, where's
Well, and a lot of
the-"
people don't even go to those businesses, walk in traffic anyways, and we have one of those out of my house, right? People pull in my driveway, I tell them it's not a public business and to please leave. But that's the address that Google states that our business is, so, but I still don't want people in my driveway.
If I could add to Nikki, first of all, Nikki and I I've had email issues since I arrived here, but Nikki and I in particular have had one. And I apologize to her that she was not notified of several meetings. But as far as other communities around the state, how they would handle this, if they would charge, I can tell you really, really confidently, other communities wouldn't even allow it. They wouldn't charge because they wouldn't allow it. They would say, no, this is our downtown. We are promoting our downtown. We only put businesses within our borders. In fact, when this first came up, I even researched because I had in the back of my head that you couldn't even do this. It wouldn't be legal to spend special assessment money to promote businesses that are not in the DDA district. It's not illegal, but it is kind of on the gray side of things. So if that makes you feel any better, Nikki, I don't know. I don't know of any community in the state that would have a wayfinding system that would promote somebody who's not in the downtown.
If the DDA money was going towards it.
If the DDA money was.
And realistically, we're looking at the tourist that's walking down the street that says,
Well, I mean, that's what the whole wayfinding signage was
Right,
about, and I
right.
think that was our argument back then, is that, the people who live here don't need a sign for where the water is, and that, I mean, that was a genuine complaint.
Yep.
Like I said, I'm just making sure that if there is a pushback within the other businesses, because there was at the beginning, that this board or the promotions committee, and if I was at the meetings, I would have made that comment then, that we are ready to, if they don't want to pay that, because the $365, that's not the only thing that $365 is going towards. So, and I understand that it is an inexpensive, form of advertising. I get that. I'm just saying, after being included on the wayfinding and the businesses that had to be convinced to do this, and the town, that we're ready to go back and say, hey, we've changed our minds. This is what we're doing. And if you're ready to take that on.
I
Basically,
don't think $50. I think $50 is more than reasonable.
I see where Nikki's going.
Yeah,
The
yeah, I
the
understand
message
that.
might be, it needs to be couched and presented very carefully.
Absolutely.
And tactfully. And I would also say we have a member of the public that is not here today, but it feels very adamantly about this and has spoken at several meetings that it's not right. You can't, I'm not speaking for her, but as long as you were talking about support for it.
Any other comments?
so the promotions committee has put their blessing on this and we need to make a motion to proceed forward.
We do.
I'll make said motion to proceed forward with the plan for wayfinding uptown.
I second that.
Excellent. Okay. Everyone in favor?
Right.
Thank you.
Anyone opposed?
yes.
You're okay.
Nikki's opposed. Just make note that.
Okay, so we're gonna have the Third Street lighting report now. We did meet with the representative from Bear River Electric, and something that no one knows, because I just found this out yesterday. They called me after they met on August 26th with us. They were perfectly fine with the plan that we had, a draft plan that we had given to them. They were ready to install. They had to go back and review their numbers. And yesterday I received an email from them saying they've received another, been awarded a really large contract. They're gonna be tasked beyond their means to be able to do that contract. And they want to sub this out to another company. Now, I did ask Lucas about the other company. He said he doesn't know anything bad about them, but that's where that is right now. So I haven't, if that, you know, if that's the timeline, that's gonna really frost me.
So they agreed to take the job and now they're not going to?
Well, they're saying,
Basically.
basically his email said,
Okay.
we can make more money on this one than we can on yours. We don't have the manpower to
What
support
was
it.
the other
Yeah,
company
what was the
that
other
they
company?
mentioned?
Blue water? Should have written that down. It's something someone I had never heard of, but I did ask Lucas and he said he knows nothing, no reason why we shouldn't switch to them, so.
But now we have to go on the waiting list with them?
I don't know, because I haven't, this just happened yesterday, so I don't know.
Nobody's even sugarcoating it anymore. They're just going with, you know, I was gonna do some work for you, but I can make double over here.
So that's where we are with that, so stay tuned. Because Bear River had said they would begin this work after Labor Day, or in the month of September after. So.
So they said they'll sub it out.
Right,
That means they're accepting the contract, but they're not doing the work.
pretty much.
So you got two companies responsible now, not one. I don't see a problem with it.
I think we have to take what we can get too. We need to get the project done. So if we got somebody who.
As long as they're both responsible, that's two responsible companies for the
Yeah, I
contract.
suppose if Bear River, I mean, I don't think, I mean, they're a pretty reputable they're a reputable company,
Yeah.
I mean.
And if they're the, general contractor, so, if they're subbing it out, then they're not gonna have someone do work that's gonna look bad on them, right?
They are
My
pulling
biggest
permits,
concern is
correct?
the timeline. My biggest concern is the timeline.
They're pulling permits though, right? So it's gonna be inspected for code.
I'm certain of that, although those words haven't been spoken, but it's all gotta be worked out. So when we walked that day, Cora put together this map. She did a wonderful job. Her skills here, Barb, cell line. And she also, and thank you. And she also took several pictures. I'm gonna turn it over to Cora right now. And she can
So
describe what
we
did.
Well, we walked multiple times. Gail and I actually went and walked at about 10 o'clock at night in June. When we first started this, because I really wanted to see what it looked like when it was dark. And where the hardest part was, is we should have the tree lights off, but we wanted to really know where it was the darkest, because in between Spring and Gardner on the far side, I've been walking with my dog and it's been, I mean, I couldn't see my hand in front of my face when we didn't have lights last fall. So, we walked up and down it and we kind of made a list, and then from there, we all walked it together, and then when we made another list, and then we walked it with the electric company, and then we had to kind of base it off of where we had, so we walked with Lucas, then we walked with the electric company, we had to base it off of where we had electricity and where we could actually do it. So, based off that, these are the spots that we thought were, as equidistant from each other, evenly spaced that we could find. You will see on that map real quick, sorry, Sarah, there's a big gap, right after Spring Street heading towards Gardner. And that is the Gurney's parking lot, where there is an excessive amount of overhead lights in there. So we didn't really feel like we needed more lighting right there, because there are so many lights in there. And it just kind of felt like we would be piggybacking. And I also am not sure if there also is an overhead light at the intersection right there at Spring and Third as well. So we didn't really feel like we needed to flood that with more light and kind of waste resources. If we find that it looks really weird and in the future we want to add some more in, we can always add more in. That would be a space we could add more in. I'm hoping we could add one more in down by my building, but we don't have any electricity there right now. So yeah, and then we did take pictures of where kind of approximately where those are going to be. They made notes on their map. They had a very large printout map, so they could make very detailed notes, and I was going and standing on each space. But it's kind of dead center of each one of these pictures is where the light is going to go.
And I guess the request today would be that we have consensus on this plan moving forward.
Thanks for your work on that.
Great.
Any other
Need a
questions?
motion or just a general?
Oh, we'll get you. Yeah, as soon as we get through these, then I'll let you, Karen. Okay.
Well, if you have public comment, you might want to take it before you get.
Okay.
Hi, Karen Outfield, 1216. So I have about six things on the Third Street lighting. The seasonal lighting in the summertime, lights aren't as important for our tourists. So basically what you're doing is lighting the street, after it gets dark. And, I have some experience with another community where they put in, the street lighting. And it completely changed the home that people lived in. They had to install curtains. They finally, spoke up and, asked that there be caps on the lighting so that, their home was not completely illuminated inside of it because of the lighting. So a question would be, when do the lights go off at night? Do they stay on till dawn? Another question would be, have the residents and building owners and property owners been contacted and told that this was going to be happening? And I'm sort of curious who was on the committee when it went into committee to plan all this. If it was outside people that are involved, it looks like there's some sort of setup for the Lyric Theater on either side of it, and so I'm wondering if there's some sort of a plan in place around this. This is one of our most historical buildings, and it absolutely should be celebrated. I think it's the oldest standing building, maybe in the downtown area now, but there's going to be a lot of light around it. And then I think the final and biggest thing is, do the lights meet the night sky requirements for our town? I think it's going to create a glow that goes up the bluff and up into the arbor and things like that. So I would say that if the residents haven't been contacted and told about it, that there should be a pause in the approval or your motion. Thank you.
I answer some stuff.
Any comments?
Yeah, so Karen, I've been on the committee for the Third Street lighting for the last, I believe, 8 years. We've had a committee for it. So we've talked about Third Street lighting, with the property owners, business owners, residents, which was part of the reason why we had the decorative tree lighting for as many years as we did. Because that was a push from the residents and the business owners, to the DDA and the enhancement committee, which was why we took on that project to begin with. So as far as night sky requirements, that's why we are doing the Shepherd Hook lighting, because it'll make less of a glow than even the decorative lighting that we have. And it also won't cause as many repairs and monetary financial responsibility from squirrels, trees growing and things of that nature. As far as the Lyric goes, I walk back in that general area every night, probably 6 nights a week after dark, because I don't get out of work until 10. And it is completely pitch black. We've had people that have tripped and that have complained to the city because it's completely dark. We only have one small overhead light there. So it's not a super safe way to have the street lit up at night. And we do have a lot of people that walk back there, and especially now with the Lyric taking on that back side of the building, because there could be entrances going back and forth. So I know that the Lyric was completely on board with having some sort of lighting back there just to make it quite a bit safer. I don't believe that the amount of lighting that we have is going to cause it to be glowing or to even remotely be able to see much more than the bluff. I think the Christmas star and the Christmas tree will be more visible than these lights would cause, but it's going to emit a ton of safety for the people that are walking after dark, and especially in the winter months when it's dark at 4:30 and not 10. Because it's not necessarily just for tourists, but it's for the business owners that are leaving their buildings, for the workers that are leaving their buildings, and residents that are walking the street. So we've had a ton of discussion on this. So everybody has been notified multiple times about this.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do think that the,
Sorry.
oh, I'm sorry, go for it.
Yeah, I think the idea to have safety when you're walking is, it's great. Is it decorative? Yes. Maybe we can include an option with the electrician to see if those lights could be dimmable and adjusted depending on the season. That could be something that we can look into. Do we know the luminous of each light, what it does? Is there a spec?
I mean, it wouldn't be, they're the same Shepherd Hook lights that are found going up the bluff and through Week-Wisconsin, down Bay Street.
Yeah.
So it's
Same ones that are in the
the
very
exact same, it's the exact same lights, the city's.
Those didn't seem to be too bright.
No, they're the same lights that are all through this town. And that was why we pushed so hard to go with that specific light, because it's something that's already iconic to Harbor Springs. I mean, they're in residential neighborhoods off of Lake Street. They're through Week-Wisconsin and Ramona Park. They're in areas of Harbor that isn't considered even the city. So I don't think that it's not gonna be like a traditional street light that's like outside of my window up on Lake Street. So,
Just so everyone knows, the lights in the city, and these can be programmed that way too, come on at dusk and they go off at dawn.
Yeah.
Which is different every day.
Yeah.
Sensors.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. For the board, we're out to accept the enhancements committee placement of the lighting.
I would motion for that.
I second it.
Okay, excellent, thank you. May we get just a verbal? Rocky?
Aye.
It's okay. I have that by mistake. If you. Okay, moving on to new business.
Okay,
We wonderful things happen in the Parks and Rec Department. City Council has approved a person that will help Rachel with all the work that she does, and she does a lot of work, so. This person will be full-time year-round. You want to go to the next thing? This is the background to this. I'm not gonna read it verbatim to you, but in the winter months, this person may have a little bit extra time, and there's a great need in the downtown for sidewalk snow removal. So Rachel and I have talked, and I have told her that the DDA would be willing, because we're gonna have to pay for somehow we have to arrange to have the snow removed from the sidewalk. And this person could run the snow blower and keep the sidewalks clear, and we could solve a really big problem that way. And she's arranged to put that in the job description, and this person will be asked to do that. What Rachel needs to know is, because interviews are starting for this person, is what the parameters of the work we would like this person to do. Do we want them out there shoveling pathways to the curb? Do we want them just running it once a day? Do we want them to come back? If it snows again later in the day? I guess Rachel is here, so she can expand on that as well, how she would like to approach that. But that's the reason for this discussion today, is to give direction to Rachel when the interview starts.
Yeah, I want to be able to, if they want to send me interview, be straightforward, that person, and have them have realistic expectations. Are they coming in the morning on the weekends and that's it? We get a really big snow event. Are they coming in the morning and then every so many inches? And that's up to the DDA to dictate. That's out of your budget.
Right.
And that's something they would report technically the Becky for. That would be communication between them, and the person would come to me and say, hey, this is what I'm doing this weekend.
Question on that, what, since Victor's here, one, what was John doing for the downtown before? And then is it still the responsibility of the building owners, business owners to maintain their sidewalks? Is that still something that that is required? I mean, I'm a business owner downtown, so is that still a requirement of mine? Or are we taking that away from the business owners?
So I think your second question. The law, the ordinance would still say that it's business owner's responsibility, but by having this person, it would technically take away you guys from doing that work because you have someone running through it, running the snow blower. Right, so I think that was one of the questions was that, back then was, or last year was, the city would come out if you guys didn't snow plow in front of your buildings or clean in front of your buildings, the city would come out and do it and charge you guys. This way, the idea was that you'd have someone come in there doing a sweep, so that way the city wouldn't come out and shovel it and charge you guys. You guys have your own guy to do it. So yes, I think the ordinance would still say that it's the, unless council wants to change it, it would still say it's the shop owner's responsibility, the business owner's responsibility, but this would be a way for you guys to have the service that you had with John, who was doing it in the DPW. Not last year, but the year before, they were going, you know, first thing, they would do the downtown district first and then go through the rest of the city. And as you know, last year councils wanted the rest of the city first and then downtown to do sweeps where businesses didn't do it.
It is.
So, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I think if before we get into a big discussion, I think we need to be careful with. I mean, I pay snow plowing. I know how much that can be, especially if they come out multiple times a day. So I think to be budget conscious.
Well, our guy would be paid at a regular hourly rate, so you wouldn't be charged any more than his hourly rate.
Yeah, I was saying, cause she had said if they're coming out multiple times a day,
Yeah,
if they're,
that's, you're gonna have 3 options.
that's what
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah.
ultimately, you can go per the ordinance, which is the businesses take care of it, and then if you want a parks person to come out, have a thing and say this person did it, this person didn't, and then you bill that business accordingly, if you wanted that to be. You can have the role be come out in the morning, just like how Victor said, DPW has done it in the past, with that first week, say, hey, we did it for you this morning, now it's on you, and if you don't do it, then whatever DDA decides to do. Or you could up the service, but that, yeah, Nikki's right, it would be based on what you want it to come out of your budget. I just, like I said, want the person to have realistic expectations.
Yeah, and I think there needs to be realistic expectations, not only for the person that you're hiring, but also for the business
Right.
owners.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we need to make language very, very clear on what we're doing, what we expect. I mean, and don't get me wrong, the snowblower guy was fantastic. I loved him, especially when it was a huge amount of snow, but still, we shovel way more than what that path is.
Oh,
100%.
yeah.
And I think that if we're asking somebody to shovel to the curb, if we're asking to shovel to this, I mean, it's gonna get expensive, especially if we have a winter that is a normal Northern Michigan winter. And snow, we've been on this board long enough to know what snow removal is. So I would be very cautious because we didn't wanna, we could blow through 10 grand, super, I mean, 10 to 20 grand, super fast. So yeah.
I mean, my opinion would be, we had the service before and people were relatively comfortable with, they knew John went through in the morning. And then, you still had to clean it up and you then, as the day progressed, probably did more. And since every year is different and this is a new position, I mean, one option would be, why don't we start with that? Like go back to, it's gonna go through in the morning. You're gonna know that, there's a path. And then you, as the business owner, are still responsible for keeping it clear. There was discussion, I believe, that he would salt possibly. And if we added that piece, that could be a nice addition, or we start really just back to what we were used to before And then, you know, it's something we can work through as the year goes on, and next year, there's also, once the person is in the position for a year, you'd have more information on.
Do we know how many hours it took John to do the downtown area?
It's usually, depending on the snowfall amount, is a couple hours.
And what's the hourly rate we'd be paying? Out of curiosity?
It's probably gonna be somewhere around $25 an hour plus benefits, so you're looking total hourly probably something in the 30s.
So we're
It's
looking,
like, you're looking at, you know, maybe $100 for a big snowfall, you know, 60, 70 for a. So it's not gonna be as expensive if you can hire someone out like the color.
so we're looking at about roughly, if we do big snow, just rough estimate, we're looking at $3,000 a month.
Depending on how much.
Depending on how much.
You're back.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's every day.
We have a lot of, we're a unique town in the fact that a lot of business owners aren't here, a lot of businesses are closed. And all I remember is last year is you walk a store and it's clear and you walk the next block, it's not clear. This doesn't seem very welcoming to me whatsoever as a business, that what we're telling people that come to visit us. I think we need to be consistent. Yes, I think that we need somebody to come down here that this is their job and they're there. And I don't want us to start small and hopefully it's not a bad winter, or start small and we still end up with the same problems in the afternoon. We get, especially in the wintertime, it seems our business was busier in the afternoons than it was in the morning. So that they come in and do the first swipe in the morning, that's great. But if it's a snow day, I would like them to be coming back through again at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon and clean up again. I think we need to look at it as what's best for the downtown area and on a snowy day. And that means consistency, and it's easy for our customers, the tourists come in here and enjoy our downtown.
Oh,
And so we know it's gonna vary every year, depending on the snow base. So to sit here and say, well, we got $20 an hour, and let's just budget $3,000 a month or whatever that goes. I think we need to learn a little bit more on what we can do with this new person in place, but I want it to be a great event every snow day. It should be. We're beautiful when it snows.
well, no, and 100%. I mean, I've been in the business, I've had my business downtown for 9 years, and there's multiple times that between my husband and I, we're out 3
That's your
times.
business. It's not the other businesses that are closed that are next to me. In
But
my
it's-
block, we're surrounded by businesses that are closed.
But it's
All of Third Street, I mean,
But it's the-
you and I are probably the only people, like, Margaret and I are probably the only people that shovel or
But
walk.
My point being is that it's the business's responsibility, and that's what I'm saying, and I understand you
And How
saying.
well has that done for the downtown area in the last few winters?
Which Chuck, I'm not, I mean, I've argued this, and I get it, but what I'm saying is 3,000 for just what we had before. If we have a normal winter and just what we've done before, it will be $3,000 a month at minimum that the DDA will be spending. And if we have them salt, if we have them come back, we could easily be looking at between $5,000 and $8,000 a month for the winter for the DDA that we would be paying for. So that's what I'm saying that the board needs to take into consideration is the overall bill. We can't, and I understand what you're saying, but there also has to be, and I've said this on multiple other meetings, that the city needs to make the businesses responsible for taking care of their businesses like the ones, those of us that are there do. I mean, my husband's at the Lyric. There's multiple times that we shoveled the entire walkway down to running water and down to Kebble's. We did it 3 times last winter because nobody else was doing it. So I get it. We've done it, but I'm saying that we need to be fiscally responsible because we don't have a ton of money. And that was my point of asking what the hourly rate was.
So do we bill, charge, penalize those people that don't show?
We were supposed to.
We did it, the first time we did it was this past.
Well, it was done before that because I've gotten a ticket before, but then it stopped.
I was just saying, I never received one, and I know that there was a few times where they came through before 10 AM, which is before we open. So I know that there was a few times, and there was times where I was out of town and couldn't get there, and I know that and I never received it.
Nobody was billed.
So and I'm just gonna go back to what Chuck said. I know from turkeys to community bank, No, not one store is open. And they do not show. I can tell you, there's nobody there that shows.
Because nobody's been made accountable, and that's the problem. It's in the bylaws. We were just told, and people need to be made accountable. I don't feel comfortable putting this much money out when we're not going to get anything back. When we should be.
My question would be then, so if the DDA does choose that person, the effective question. So if you do hold the businesses accountable to keep track of that, and you have a person that does that, does that still come out of the DDA budget, or is that the city
That was the argument that we've had before.
for the billing? Because you're still gonna pay someone to keep track of that.
Well, if we're, yes,
Yeah, you get. I
Wait
just
a
don't
minute,
know.
on top of it, we paid money to the city last year for this.
100%. That was my point when
And
we.
for fee,
that budget.
to help with administrative billing for this. And if the fees never went out and nothing ever happened from it, I think that
I agree. So
something should happen with that money.
That was the argument that I had. We agreed to put out that money.
This is
because I-
the first I'm hearing that we didn't bill. I was under the impression we billed them, so I'm not about to lose from it.
I don't know that that fee has been charged to our fund yet,
Okay,
but we understood that that was going.
okay.
Because we approved to pay it. I mean, we all did. approve to
So
pay
it sounds like the verbiage and all that needs to kind of be,
We need to have a meeting with the city and figure out what was billed, and we need to figure out how it's gonna be billed before, I mean,
think that-
personally.
Unfortunately, though, I think that Rachel wants to probably start interviews before we can have
Yeah.
all these, you
Yeah, I
know.
just need a general idea. I
Yeah.
just need to tell this person, you're gonna be on call, are we gonna? They know they're going.
I mean, maybe
I'm
we tell
comfortable
them,
saying
you know,
they're
maybe
gonna-
I guess it's hard, because we could tell them, you know, more and then give them less, but I mean, it also depends on snowfall.
Right.
They
But
will
telling
understand
people
that.
you're on
Right.
call on the weekend is a lot different than saying you're gonna go in once on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, someone might be flexible with that, and someone might tell us to kick rocks.
well, I think what Chuck has said, sorry. go ahead. We have to make it dummy proof. Because like Gail just said also, you've got that huge stretch. Somebody wants to go to the bank and then they wanna go, they wanna trudge down that. It is not a welcoming.
Well, and even on Sundays, I mean, I'm closed on Sunday, and my husband and I have had to go down twice on a Sunday and clear our path because we have people that walk by there all the time. Again, it's the business owner's responsibility.
I'm closed on Sunday and Monday because I don't have staff, because
Yeah.
there's just we can't be open.
But we still go down and we take care of the Lyric sidewalk, because that's my husband's responsibility, and we take care of the salon. So
Sarah, you have,
Oh,
Sarah has it.
Well, I would agree with, I mean, I think it's the business owner's responsibility, but I think we have to do something. And we, as a DDA, that's part of our job, like we're providing a service to the business owners, and it doesn't have to be every hour. But we have to do something, and we have to clear a path, at least, at minimum. Now, if it means that they're gonna come twice a couple of days, but I think there has to be at least that, so that there's this idea that, yes, you're gonna probably plow once a day on snowy days. And, you know, if we need you, we might ask for more in that, but I just don't think we can leave it where we were last year, because that did not work, and we owe something. I mean, and for those of us that are open, people need to get around, and we're open 7 days a week.
We want to support the businesses that are open. They're spending the extra payroll and everything else to be there. And it just seems like we're backing out.
But then the question again is, what do we do about the businesses that don't even have anyone here in town representing them? I.e., you know,
Well, if they're not shoveling somebody, they'll have to pay or something. I mean,
That's
that's the thing. You're gonna be
There's no
closed all
accountability,
winter.
so someone's just.
Oh, come on, Becky.
I guess I was thinking, it is the business responsibility, it's in the ordinance, that's the way it's written, and you are gonna have. But this is a service that you have this DDA fund for, and it's something that you can give to the downtown because you're collecting special assessment, because you're collecting TIF. This is a way you can support them, and if you choose to just go through once a day, clean it up in the morning, and they have to do the final work and the touch-up work throughout the day. If you say there's no service on weekends, whatever you determine, you are supporting the business community. And that even though it's still in the ordinance that they're gonna have to clean up the final details, maybe it would be a good idea to really patrol, and if somebody who is out of town and doesn't provide that final cleanup, work, then they do get a ticket. So that's, I guess, what you're trying to come to a decision today, is what we want to tell this person at the interview. You have to come in every single morning as needed, if it's snowfall, even on Saturdays and Sundays or not. You have to be available to come if there's a blizzard, to clean up later in the day. That's the parameter there. If you can just get through this idea that you're giving them something for being in the downtown, it's a service that you're providing to them, good expenditure of DDA funds.
I agree. I mean, we were just talking about how we do have all this extra money. We have how much left in our fund balance by the end of our budget. I think that, I
But
definitely
we
think it's a good allocation of money, especially because we have this extra money.
But
Now
we
we're
should
gonna-
realistically look at the special assessment. And we should kind of break down at some point. How are we spending the $46,000 a year? I mean, would this be part of the special assessment?
Well, Becky just said it was special assessment, we could also use TIF dollars for that, correct?
Oh,
So then
yeah.
we can use some of our own money just because we're trying to do good for downtown and promote businesses and promote walkability of our town and all of these things, so.
So then that would literally mean we want something that's close to pristine sidewalks. I mean,
I don't know, but
we
pristine,
could-
blow through $46,000 in one winter.
yeah.
I mean, that's,
Realistically, I don't think you will, because our employee is set as his annual wage, and it's not gonna be beyond $50,000 as a baseline. So talking about 3-4 months, let's say he's even spent half his time, which is excessive amount during that time. You're talking about probably 10 to 15,000 at most, because you're using his wage.
You also won't be paying overtime on weekends.
Yeah.
And left the job description very flexible for their hours, for their 40. So let's say we know a big snow event's coming Saturday, they don't wanna work Thursday because they know they're coming Saturday, great. You know, or if they wanna come do snow in the morning and leave for the day because they know it's gonna snow every day that week, great. We left it flexible for that reason, so.
Gail,
Oh, Karen, here you go. So you guys are really on the right track for wondering and worrying and, you know, trying to keep track of all these things. I think that with 5,000 cars over at Nubs, 5,000 at Point Highlands, even people down in on Point Mountain, 7,500 cars there, if those numbers are true. Having a cleared sidewalk, edge to edge, not a path, a wide path for a man that carries his two little children about this big, so he can walk them along the thing. We are a ski town. You absolutely can't get away. We may not be a ski town in 5 years, you know, who knows? But right now, we can celebrate that. And if you clear these sidewalks from end to end of town, you're gonna have people come in and support the landowners and the property owners and the store owners. I just know it. And however you can pay for it, it's just, we need to celebrate that we are open for business, just like you guys say.
Rodney?
So, yes, I agree. The businesses are still responsible to clear the snow. But if you're gonna send someone to clear the snow specifically to a certain business, they're already driving over that path. So what? It's an extra hour. Let's just clear the path like it's been. And once we reach a certain budget cap, they can come back to the board and we can do approval for either yay or nay as far as our budget to continue to clear snow, depending on what we get.
John?
John Leo, 510 West Summit. I think he's spot on. We've been talking about snow clearing for as long as I've lived here, 12 years now, and I think the discussions go beyond that. If the businesses are responsible for clearing snow, they need to be held accountable. We're talking about a behavioral issue. If they're not getting billed for work that the city or the DDA or whoever is doing, they're gonna continue to do it. Because that's human nature. If I'm getting a freebie, I'm gonna continue to take it. I think that we need to find a balance, but we need to make business owners accountable, send them a bill. There's no better way to get a response than to send somebody a bill. We're not doing that, that's gonna change. It shouldn't be a unique burden to the DDA or the city. If we're gonna enforce the ordinance, if not, the ordinance is pointless.
The only thing that happens because of what you just said, though, is it's after the fact. That means I just went through the week with somebody not taking care of the stuff. And they're gonna be billed, and that's great. Doesn't solve our problem, it doesn't make our town inviting, it doesn't help us.
No, you do the work.
Eventually it will.
You do the work, you do.
Well, no, see, that's the, I think that's what we're talking about, the ordinance, for the ordinance, we can't bill them because it says we have to wait at least 12 hours after accumulation.
Well, then perhaps council should consider an amendment to the.
So,
This thing has been going on for so long without a resolution. Something's gotta
I mean,
change.
we went through one year, one winter, when Tom Richards was city manager, where we were ticketing people. Cause I got a damn ticket for $100 and some. I was livid because it wasn't my fault,
Got a
because of the
ticket?
way. I got a ticket.
You said it, damn.
I did get a damn
Make you
ticket.
say it again.
I was not impressed because it was the way that anyway, but we were ticketing. I'll tell you what, I made sure that that area, regardless of if it was my fault or not, was cleared every single time. I was not the only business owner that walked into Tom Richards' office that day who was irritated that they got a ticket. Pearson's was ticketed that year. There was a bunch, whether it was in our control or not. But then we stopped doing it. And then nobody got tickets. You know, it has to be, again, I know that it's 12 hours and I get what you're saying. I mean, I understand it. And I need my people who are walking out in flip-flops to be able to walk on the sidewalks. But there has to be a reason. And I don't think, and I said this at the city meeting, I don't think that the city should have to be responsible for this. I don't think that the DDA should have to be responsible for this. And I also think that it's bad that we're giving away things for free when we have business owners who are outside 3 or 4 different times while they're working, shoveling sidewalks. So that's the issue that I'm coming into, is that we have a city ordinance for a reason, and it is the city's responsibility to enforce that.
Yeah, I just ask, is there a reason why we have not
I just,
charged them?
the bills just haven't gone out, it's gonna be the first thing we do this week, so. They're going out. They've been going out back in March or April. They'll be out.
I have a thought. So what if we had, I'm trying to like split the difference here. What if we had either once a day at least during snowfall, and maybe an additional, like we say, like if there's like, 3 to 5 inches more snow, if it's like really blizzard conditions, we have an exception, whatever set inches. But that person is making note, so it says in here, I'm sitting here reading this, is maintain at least one clear path from the sidewalk to any possible snowbank. So obviously, if someone's not here in the winter, they're not maintaining a walkway from their business. Like there's a part of this that they're still not doing. So it's kind of splitting the difference. We can still clear the paths. We can still know if these people aren't doing it. We can still hold them accountable. I mean, it's kind of going to be a little more training on our end of whoever the person is to be like, hey, we need to kind of take note if they're not. But at the same time, like the businesses that are closed, that are not shoveling, like there will be snow on either side of the said path. Like that.
Is the city
And then
still,
penalize.
is
And
the
then
city
penalize,
still,
based off that.
is the city still gonna be responsible for taking care of the snow berms that are between the road and the pathway? Because I've said this multiple times, I've emailed Victor multiple times about it. Down by my block, those banks never get cleared, ever get cleared. Like we have them, they're taller than I am. And so I just.
To be clear, that would still be DPW though.
DPW is still in charge of doing that.
Basic
Okay.
snow blower.
Can I make a recommendation? It seems like this is an emotional thing. Because it's a lot of time.
I don't necessarily think it's emotional. I
Well,
just think
because it's a lot of
I
time
think
and
it's
effort.
frustrating that it's been
And you,
years and nothing's been done properly.
well, that's fine, but I
Yeah.
mean, that you think about it every winter, you think, oh, Lord, I gotta go out there and shovel again, I gotta.
I just think we need to get a simple plan together about, it sounds like X amount of dollars for this person to work. You said $10,000-$20,000, whatever, they get an hourly rate, they could go out when we get extra snow. And the business owner's responsible for the act, you know, a little bit of clearing. But I think, you know, we're kind of going around and around and around and around. I think having whoever this person's gonna be, they're gonna have an hourly rate. It sounds reasonable. I think we should just go ahead and go forward with this. I mean, yes, the businesses should be fined if they're not taking care of the sidewalks. So,
I think there's other ways to note that though, and I think that,
I also think just to clarify, it's, our ordinance doesn't allow businesses to get fined. It's just, we go there, we bill them for the work that we did. So there is no ticket or fine involved, it's just literally a bill, so. On one hand, you know, they're just, instead of hiring someone else to do the work, they're really just end up hiring the city to do it, so it's really not a punishment, it's just, all right, the city's gonna do it. So there's no, it's maybe at a higher rate than they would have been able to do it themselves, but it's not a fine per se.
So yes, you could have them tag in what Victor's saying, you could have them come through in the morning, have a spreadsheet, tag what businesses she takes care of. And then, supplement those funds with whatever you do to build a business.
but I mean, at the same time, it's like what, you know.
Yeah,
Have a set
that's what I
time, because like some
Yeah.
businesses don't open till noon, some
Yeah.
businesses, you know,
Other
that's our part.
hours and stuff.
I think Rachel needs
complicated
to,
way. You
Yes.
gotta keep it simple.
Right. And Rachel just needs
Let's go.
our thoughts, a scope of work so that she can go on.
I would say one time, my vote is one time a day. Like once a day during snowfall in the morning and. If we have an insane accumulation, 5 inches or more by noon, another pass.
Is that gonna keep somebody busy enough to have a job?
Yeah.
I don't know if we even have that.
I'm not. Yeah, well, you can keep a person in the winter busy enough. I guess the point was, we have someone, the DDA had something they
Yeah.
needed a solution. And it keeps them extra, like, for flexible hours and, I don't know.
And then, so would we then send them back out?
I don't know how much it is.
I know.
Would we then send them out?
We have voting members that are completely.
Yeah.
I gotta leave at 9:30.
I just asked one question. Would we send somebody back out if Chuck did not take care of his, would we send said person back out if Chuck did not clear his space?
Well, here's what I would say, the way the ordinance is written is you have 12 hours, so let's say this person does it like at 9 or 10 in the morning. You know, he comes back the next morning, and it's still not done, then you can send Chuck a bill. I mean, that's, you know, are we gonna send someone out we never send someone out at the 12-hour mark. It's not, we don't have the staff to just time that like that, but this person could come at, you know, the next morning, if businesses aren't done, you know, they haven't been done for 24 hours, then you send them a bill. You can keep track of that.
Does somebody want to make a motion that entailed all of what we just?
Margaret, you had some good language.
Yeah, you had good language right there.
I have what?
You had good language.
Right,
What you
yes,
said.
I'll make a motion that we send someone out once a morning. And if we have heavy snowfall, 4 or 5 inches, we send them out a second time when there's snowfall. And then we'll deal with finding people or whatever after 24 hours or 12 hours, whatever, the 24 hours.
I will second. But can we have discussion after I second?
Okay.
Can we talk about salting too? Is that? Can we have?
Budget.
Pay for it.
Can have them out there for all day. But I don't.
That's the whole thing. What is the level of service you want? to
And it
provide?
doesn't necessarily need to be hashed out, like, let me be clear, it doesn't need to be hashed out, this person is gonna know you position the parks. And you position for the stuff, like, they'll be flexible, we'll make that clear, like I said, really all I was asking for is. Are they coming out once a day, or do we have a little bit higher expectations for the snow event? So they know. Not to leave town if they're.
I would leave it as it is, without the salt rate for the moment. I mean, I'm gonna be mad if I'm getting dealt, if I'm paying for salt and putting it out there and then someone else is coming through and salting, like, that's just gonna, like, I'm wasting my money. So,
We could grow to that
exactly,
as we.
That's what I
feel
think so
that. I mean,
too.
I think that's something too, we can see
Yeah.
how many, how this works, and
Yeah.
we can always add.
And if it's not the first month of December, January, it's not working well, we can adjust.
Adjust.
Because just talk with you and see how we go.
Yeah, it doesn't change my life.
And we know it's a flexible event.
Any comments from public? Got a thumbs up, it's a good thing. Okay, so, you seconded, let's vote. Oh, I think,
Okay.
so, yeah, Jody, Rocky,
Aye.
aye.
No.
Okay, excellent. And so some of the board members do have to leave,
Okay, this could be quick.
right?
Could be real quick. You know, I'm working on this orientation packet and there are several parts to it. The committees wanted to get this part approved because it doesn't require approval. About the responsibilities of the board chair and vice chair and the committee members and the committee chairs. Because they're busy recruiting new members for their committees and people want to know what they're expected to do when they're on a committee. So I put these bullet points together for you. The enhancement committee reviewed and they approved that this is what should be recommended to you. So did the promotions committee. And it's pretty basic. There's nothing there that is out of the ordinary that I can think of. The next slide is the committees. And it needs to be discussed. Any additions if you see something that's lacking? Or a motion to approve.
Any comments or? No?
No, it's very straightforward.
Yeah, it is.
And a motion, we approve it.
You made a motion, I'll second.
Okay. And everyone's in agreement? Yes?
Yep.
All right, excellent.
So, when we get the chairs, you won't have to listen to me all the time, because they'll be reporting at the meeting, so. You can see what I know people are in a tight time here. They did approve the guidelines for the chairs and, members. They looked at a mission statement for the committee and I didn't bring that to you today, but they did approve to recommend that. They talked about the Halloween parade. I was not here for the Halloween parade. It sounds like it's a fun event. And it doesn't require a lot of preparation, but we'll be starting to work on that. They talked about the historic plaque tour that we're collaborating with Harbor Springs. They heard from me about the social media consultant and the Ice Fest subcommittee. Thank goodness that Nikki has agreed to chair the subcommittee again. And she'll be working to set the meeting dates as we move forward. Enhancement committee did the same thing. They looked at the guidelines and the mission statement. We talked about the Third Street lighting project, the wayfinding system repairs and the emergency walkway project, which we do, as well as the planning commission issues regarding sign ordinance and outdoor display of goods that are still being worked on by the planning commission and by a sign committee, sub-sign committee, I guess. They talked about the aquapods. Jody had put me in touch with the inventor of the aquapod, who I had a nice conversation with, and he is a Harbor Springs local, and he is very interested in sponsoring these pods. Not maybe total donation, but at least strong support of them. I'll be ordering a pot so we can see it and know how it works. And this is a strong possibility to go into the streetscape for next year, so that we won't have, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself on my mind. So we won't have to plant under the trees anymore. And the nice thing is we have this new person that will be hired, and possibly they could do some watering once a week, because that's all they would be required to be watered. So this could be a really beautiful addition, and the committee is looking to put these all through the district. So that you can say, this is downtown, it's this way, it's down by the water. So you'll be hearing more about that. We talked about the sidewalk snow removal, and we also talked about dates for a walk around downtown. The purpose of looking at where things are needed. They're talking about the bike racks, the trash cans, all the benches and things that we talked about in the budget and where they might go, what the problems are, where we have things we'd like to solve and where we'd like to enhance, more on the street.
Did we set a date for that? I was
Well, the
unable to be able.
Well,
to
we
get that
did,
date,
but I'm
sorry.
gonna be sending you a message. 17th. It's my fault. Well, we did, but when I got back, I knew right away. Margaret says she can only do Tuesdays and Thursdays, so you know, it might not be that.
No, I can do it, we were gonna do it in the afternoon at 1
Right.
o'clock,
Right,
and you
On
can't do it now?
I can't, I'm sorry. I apologize sincerely.
Okay,
So we're
I'm pretty
ready to get that
flexible.
figured out.
if it's in the afternoon, I can
Oh,
usually
you
do
can-
it. It-
okay.
It's just, my hours are changed now, I can't do it Tuesday or Thursday morning.
Oh, okay, that makes it easier. We'll get it. I don't want to take all your time on this. I did meet with Chief Knight. We had a great talk. We talked about parking enforcement and how the summer had gone. And also about alcohol consumption. I needed to understand for myself. If someone comes to me and they say, I'd like to serve alcohol in my store, what my answer should be, because ordinance is how things work here. We got down to the nitty gritty on that. I spent a lot of time looking at the sidewalks again. RRC, that they meet again this week, and the budget. We did, Bonnie asked me, I sent out a newsletter, which I intend to do seasonally. So Bonnie asked me to tell everyone about the Taste of Harbor, which is September 21st. The tickets are on sale now. I didn't realize that event is that old, 29 years old. That's crazy. I mean, I guess if I thought about it, they were doing it when I came up here, so that was 20 years ago. And congratulations to Harbor Springs for being named Best Lakeside Community by Travel and Leisure. This, you know, a lot of this, when you get these best of this and best of that, a lot of that is paid for advertising, and the Visitors Bureau has, you know, they'll lobby for it. But Travel and Leisure is a big one, and it's just like this. Shasky got one for Smithsonian several years ago, best small town in America. This is an award that carries some prestige to it. And Margaret, you were nicely featured there. That was, and glad to see all of that. Yeah, yeah. So congratulations on that. And then especially congratulations to Gail, Cora, and Sarah being nominated for the Chamber Stars Best Volunteer of the Year, and to me, because I have all of you on my board, and to the board because you work with them as well. So that's really, you know, very phenomenal that 3 of you would get that nomination. So any questions for me?
So somebody better win. So,
And we're all gonna be friends afterwards.
and that event is October 3rd. Harbor Stars. Before I said.
I thought it was
October 1st, Tuesday the 1st.
That event is October 1st.
Don't show up on the 3rd.
So those tickets are on sale as well.
Those tickets are on sale,
Yeah, chamber website.
$49. Are you playing
Any
piano?
public comment? Oh, before we sign off, any public comment?
Oh, no.
No, no public comment?
Thanks. Thanks for being so organized.
The meeting's adjourned. We got it.
Love her, barely.
Barely.